Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive. Today we're tackling risk management and project management. We're using Project Management for Project Managers by Orlando Casabon as our guide.
Yeah, this is a big one.
It really is, because let's face it, every project has its share of risks.
Oh, absolutely. And knowing how to manage them, well, it can be the difference between smooth sailing and, complete chaos.
Exactly. So let's get right to it. First things first, risk identification.
Right. You got to know what you're dealing with. This is all about figuring out what could potentially go wrong in your project.
Think of budget overruns, unexpected delays, you name it. It's like planning a road trip. Before you even hit the road, you check the weather, map out alternate routes, maybe pack an emergency kit.
Exactly. It's the same idea. Risk identification is basically preparing for the unexpected in your project.
Okay, so once you've identified those potential pitfalls, you move on to what's called qualitative risk analysis. Now, what exactly does that involve?
So this is where you start to assess each risk. How likely is it to actually happen? And if it does, what kind of impact would it have on your project?
So you're basically putting each risk under a microscope, figuring out how serious it really is.
Right. You're trying to prioritize those risks, figure out which ones need your immediate attention. Because not all risks are created equal, right?
Makes sense. But I'm guessing we don't stop there, right?
You're right, there's more to it. For bigger, more complex projects, you might want to go deeper with quantitative risk analysis. This involves putting actual numbers on the probability and impact of each risk.
So we're talking about getting into the nitty-gritty details here. It sounds a bit like using a magnifying glass to look at a grain of sand. Sometimes you need that level of detail, sometimes you don't.
Exactly. It depends on the project. But whether you go quantitative or not, the next step is crucial: risk response planning.
This is where the rubber meets the road, right?
Yeah.
We've identified the risks, we've analyzed them, now it's time to come up with a plan of attack.
Exactly. And there are a few ways to approach this. You can try to avoid the risk altogether, maybe change the plan to eliminate it completely.
Or you can try to transfer the risk.
Right, like outsourcing a particular task to a specialist who's better equipped to handle it.
And then there's mitigating the risk.
This means taking steps to reduce the probability of the risk happening or lessening its impact if it does occur.
I see. So it's all about being proactive, having a game plan for each of those high priority risks.
Absolutely. And even with the best plans in place, you can't just sit back and relax. That's where our final step comes in: risk monitoring and control.
Right. Risk management, it's not a one-time thing, is it?
Nope, it's an ongoing process. You got to keep a close eye on those risks, see if they're changing, and adapt your plan as needed.
Think of it like steering a ship. You need to keep adjusting your course based on the winds and currents, right?
Exactly. That's risk management in a nutshell. Always being prepared for whatever comes your way.
So, to recap, we've got our 5 key steps: identify, analyze qualitatively, analyze quantitatively if needed, plan your response, and monitor.
And remember, the key takeaway here is to be proactive. Don't wait for risks to become problems, anticipate them, and have a plan in place.
Great advice. And if you're looking for a deep dive into this topic, we highly recommend checking out Project Management for Project Managers by Orlando Casabon. It's full of practical strategies and insights to help you master risk management.
A must-read for anyone who's serious about project success.
Absolutely. Until next time, happy managing those risks.